Hey, good Saturday evening, everyone. The time now is about 8:23, not 10:23. We are talking about the threat for strong to severe storms as we go into tomorrow into the region. Likely seeing showers and thunderstorms all day long in our viewing area. And at different points, we'll see different threats and different impacts. So we'll be spending some time breaking down the impacts to your location, answering your questions, and talking more about what we expect here in central Illinois. The other thing, too, is that I'd like you to do in the comments, let me know where you're watching from. You can also, if you have a specific question, you want to know more about this or that or what's going on, you can ask that, too. At the end of the little time we have together, I will break that down more and take a little more in-depth look at some of those questions that we have. I may answer your question during it too. Of course, this broadcast is live just before 8:30 Saturday evening, but this forecast will be valid for Saturday night and early Sunday morning. We will plan to join back Sunday morning sometime between 8 and 8:30 with meteorologist Jack Dickey and myself with another update here on social media. Let's take care of some housekeeping first, then we'll get down to business. First off, if you don't have the WCIA3 weather app, I highly encourage you to have it here. You can download the app for Android and Apple devices. One great thing that you can do is on your phone, what you do is you pull up your camera app. You can actually scan this code right here and it will download. It'll send you a link to download the app. So you can open that on your browser, download the app. The app is great. It can program locations and alerts for your location. You can do it whether you're moving or for a stationary place. Like I've got mine for Urbana and Champaign. I've got one for Gibson City, where I'm from, for my parents to help keep them in the loop on things. And then I've got one for my brother in Nebraska. You can set them for wherever you want and get those alerts. I think tomorrow we'll see some alerts, different types throughout the day. So we'll talk more about that. That's the first housekeeping note. Again, scan that real quick. If you missed it, you can go to our website or search the Google or Apple stores, Android or Apple stores for WCIA3 weather app. Let's talk about this real quick. Other housekeeping notice. There is a chance that severe weather may interrupt the Bears game. I hope and pray it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, we are going to plan on double boxing things. So we will run our programming and we will run our severe weather coverage. So we will do both there to help with the threat if that's needed. It's not entirely certain, but here's some other ways just in case that you can watch the Bears game here. CBSSports.com, Paramount Plus, both allow that to stream. I was watching some games today on CBSSports.com. Didn't have to pay for anything, so that's good news. NFL Game Pass, NFL app, also some local radio stations will carry the game. Those are listed. We are hoping that does not happen. But if it does, we're going to have this graphic ready so folks that want to listen to it as well can listen to the voice of the Illini and listen to radio and perhaps stream and other things. But we have a duty for our viewers, and so we're going to make sure that we do the best to cover both of those things. Let's get down to business and talk now about the chance for strong to severe storms. First off, already seeing the initial round for tonight, tomorrow morning, starting to develop in southeast Missouri. This will be the initial line that eventually moves to the north into our area. Not overly concerned about it, but tonight we may get some heavy rain, some thunder and lightning that could wake you up in spots here as it carries in tonight and into tomorrow morning. So that's that first spot. So already starting to see things get going. We think we'll start seeing rain and storms in our area after midnight tonight. More than likely, things are quiet for much of us here, but some of that rain could get a little heavy, especially towards sunrise tomorrow. Temperature tomorrow on our 7-day forecast says 66. It's not exactly going to be that, and that's because the warm front's in the area here. You can see the range in temperatures from north to south. I've got low middle 50s in Fort Iroquois, Livingston County. If you're in the 50s all day, probably not going to worry about anything severe weather-wise for the most part. But when we start seeing some upper 60s and 70s like we do along and south of Interstate 72, 74, that is where the atmosphere will be a little more conducive for severe weather. This is the latest graphic from the Storm Prediction Center, and I think they're doing a great job illustrating the threats. Our highest threat will be from Springfield and Taylorville to the south and west, but still we can't discount the yellow area, and we also can't discount the green area. Almost everyone does have a threat for severe weather and or flooding, and the flooding threat will include areas to the north of the green. This primarily focuses on wind, hail, and tornadoes in central Illinois. We'll talk about the big picture, but the threat will be different based on your location, and I'll break it down here coming up for you. Tornadoes, hail, and wind are all possible with this. Probably the flooding threat is the highest concern at this point, especially where the warm front settles on in. Along and north of that will be an axis of heavy rain. Some significant rain is possible with that, and we'll be watching it. I have prime time, the evening, and nighttime. We'll say 5 p.m. till 2 a.m. I can't discount tomorrow morning, and I can't discount tomorrow afternoon some severe weather, but I think the prime time event will be coming through Sunday evening and into early Sunday night. This is a look at the flash flood watch. This goes through early Monday morning, and I think this also highlights the area that we most expect to be north of the warm front in central Illinois. That settles in somewhere along the Interstate 72-74 corridor. When you have warm fronts come on in, generally what happens is to the north of that, along and north of it, is your heavy rain. You still can get some severe weather, but the tornado threat north of the warm front is essentially zero. What happens is you can get some elevated storms that produce hail. That doesn't mean the warm front lifts to the north and brings some more folks on in. It also could be the warm front maybe stays a little further south, which some guidance has suggested may happen before the evening and overnight hours. Our prime time, it starts to surge a little more. So we'll watch it, see how it evolves, but that flash flood watch does go in effect through early Monday morning. And those counties there north of Interstate 72, along and north of Interstate 74, do have the highest chance for rain. This is our future track rainfall totals. The warm front probably settles in just south of it. That heavy rain axis, we think 2 to 4 inches is likely to the north. This could move a little bit north or south. It all depends on where the warm front settles on in. And that will be important to note here. I don't want to say it's gospel. You get 3.4 inches in Lincoln, 4.2 in Bloomington. Certainly, if we train showers and storms over the same areas, those totals will be higher. But a broad 2 to 4 inch swath, I won't rule out some 4 to 6 inch reports coming in. I think that's entirely on the table. I suspect they'll be more localized. The broader picture will be 2 to 4 inches. South of the warm front, we'll still get some rain and storms in the morning hour. There'll be a break. Then there'll be more rain and storms that come through as we go into Sunday, I should say, Sunday evening into the region as that cold front sweeps on through. Quite a bit of rain from this. The farmers probably not happy. Folks that are in flood-prone areas, particularly in that flash flood watch, probably should be taking some extra precautions. That's just one of the threats, though. We're going to show you on Future Track and break it down as well on here. Here we go by 2 a.m. Starting to see some of that moderate to heavy rain move into areas south of Springfield, and through the morning hours, that will lift to the north. I suspect by the time Jack Griffin and myself are here for the morning show at 7 a.m., we'll see numerous to widespread moderate to heavy rain into the area. Some embedded thunder is possible. I think the way things look, the severe threat that at 8 a.m. in the morning, probably not a big concern. We'll watch the southern edge of this band of rain as it lifts to the north. Maybe we can get a little small hail in some spots. That's about all I suspect may be the issue. But that rain continues to fall over the same areas, which will add to those rain totals and potentially fairly quickly. Here we go in 3, 4, 5 o'clock then. These storms have my eye for a couple of reasons. One, they will be dependent on where the warm front is. I think generally they'll be north of the warm front, which may allow for a large hail threat, but eliminate the tornado threat. If a storm forms to the south in the warm sector, that will help perhaps some more wind, hail, and tornado threat, all three come up. But these storms, more than anything, will bring more rain to areas that have already seen heavy rain. Here we go, past 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Now we're at 9 o'clock. This is the finishing line of showers and storms with the severe threat that will come on in. Probably the better severe threat south of 72, 74, but I can't rule it out to the north with that line as it moves on in. And then finally here, getting to 11, 12 o'clock, we're pushing it into West Indiana areas to the east of Interstate 57. Still some spot showers in the backside after midnight, 1 a.m., and we'll give that 2 a.m. window to account for some subtle differences in timing. But by and large, most of us should be done by midnight with some scattered showers continuing into our Monday, which will be a little breezier. Let's talk more about those 3 rounds, 4 a.m. to 12 p.m. Round number 1, there were storms from start to finish. So I say these rounds are more like periods of times for specific threats. Rain and flooding will be the main threat. I can't rule out a little small hail, but that threat overall for hail is low. The rain and flooding threat may start to pick up a bit towards mid to late morning in areas that see repeating rainfall. Let's jump 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Flooding, I think, will be ongoing, especially north of Interstate 72, 74, where that heaviest rain is. We will watch for some hail. I can't rule out some wind and a tornado south of that warm front, but that threat remains conditional. Pretty confident about the flooding potential, and it may be a little higher than everything else. But the round 3 then will be more of a medium threat, the highest threat of all 3 from 5 p.m. till 2 a.m. Some tornadoes certainly on the table in parts of central Illinois. Flooding probably ongoing and getting worse at this point. And then wind and hail will accompany any strong to severe storms that move through the area. Let's break it down. I've drawn a nice colorful map. We always get the question, what about where I live? I think we're going to answer that here now, so pay attention if you're wondering about your town. I'll mention some towns. I've drawn 4 different zones here and kind of gerrymandered my way through this. So we'll zoom in here to the first area. Areas to the north of this in the blue here. This would include probably Champaign-Urbana, Danville, Gibson City, Bloomington Normal, Paxton, Watseka, up towards Pontiac, maybe as far south as Georgetown, and then into West Indiana. I think the main threat in this area will be heavy rain and flooding would be the main impact there. I can't rule out some stronger storms. If the warm front lifts north pretty good compared to what the forecast says, that may put some of these in play, but I'm feeling pretty good right now about a lesser threat for severe weather, but I'm not so happy about the flooding potential for this area in that blue. And that generally will find itself north of the warm front. Sometimes you get elevated storms. They may bring some hail with it. That should be what we expect. To the south of that, I do have a transition zone in place, and this transition zone includes areas from Springfield to the north, Decatur, Tuscola, areas south of Champaign. I'll put Clinton, Lincoln, Monticello in there, and even from Paris up towards Chrisman. This area is our transition zone where the warm front should settle on in. It may be a little more south, it may be a little more north here. And that's going to be the question of where that ends up. So this heavy rain still looks likely in this region if you live in these areas here, but the severe threat is conditional to the placement of that warm front. I think we'll get some severe weather for more than likely in these areas as we go into the evening round, but that afternoon round we'll watch closely as well. Let's drop to the south, areas in blue here, Jacksonville, Springfield, Taylorville, Shelbyville, we'll put Sullivan in it, Effingham, Pana, Vandalia, Hillsborough, Carlinville, Auburn, Pawnee, we've got Stonington, even down towards Assumption, Moweaqua, some of those places. This area will have the highest threat for severe weather, particularly tomorrow evening and tomorrow night early, that 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. range. And this is where I think we'll see the bulk of the action. The rainfall will likely come in the morning here. There will be a break. The warm front lifts to the north. That sets us the stage for this to be the best chance for severe weather in central Illinois. As we carry more to the east, Mattoon, Charleston, there's Paris right on the line. I've got Casey, Greenup, Toledo. We'll put areas east of Interstate 57, including Newton and Robinson, in that as well. I think we'll still have a chance for severe weather, but the later we go, the lesser the threat we'll get, and the more east we go, the lesser the threat we'll get. But heavy rain early, and then some severe storms still on the table early, later into the evening hours. That's my best way to try and break it down. There's different zones that are seeing different things here, and that causes some confusion. So we're doing our best to illustrate in as many ways as possible where the highest threat will be. We can do that as well with the Storm Prediction Center's outlooks, and this is the tornado risk that they've given us. We assigned numbers to it from 1 to 10. You see here 1 and 2s, and the blues and greens. The yellows is where we've got a 4, and that will include Springfield, Taylorville, Decatur, Mattoon, Charleston, Effingham, and we even have a 6 creeping into southwestern Macoupin County. That may get expanded a little bit. We'll watch and see how it plays out, but I think it illustrates very well where the best chance for a tornado will be, a couple of them perhaps in central Illinois. The large hail risk, your attention's drawn to the red here on the edge of the screen, west of Jacksonville, west of Carlinville, but still I think areas in yellow, even the areas in blue, will have the chance for some quarter to $half size hail in some elevated storms. So we'll watch that closely, but there could be some golf balls, if not larger, in northeast Missouri and west Illinois, and some of those initial storms that form here into the region. The wind threat is a little more south of 72 here, not quite as high to the north. Where that warm front is will limit the windability. You can't mix winds down when you have cold air at the surface normally. And that will be the case for friends up north, Bloomington, Watseka, Pontiac. But we see the highest threat for wind will come into areas south of Springfield, south and west of Taylorville. Quick check here at Future Track before we answer questions. This is the area of low pressure. It is this warm front right here that will be key to the forecast for tomorrow. Where it settles will bring heavy rain, perhaps some hail to the north, and the severe threat with tornadoes, wind and rain and hail as well will be to the south. So we'll watch it closely. It exits Sunday night. Monday, still some wraparound showers. We'll get a couple of dry days, Tuesday, Wednesday, but by Wednesday night and Thursday, more rain does look to approach. At this point, I'm more optimistic the center of low pressure stays to the south. That would lessen or eliminate the severe threat for Wednesday, Thursday. But we'll worry about that when it comes. We want to stay focused on Sunday and take them one at a time. Here's some tips for staying informed before severe weather. There's a lot of threats for different areas. Flooding north, severe weather south, in the middle seeing a mix of both. We encourage you to review your emergency plans and download the WCIA3 weather app. You can visit WCIA.com for information, or the WCIA3 weather app has it as well. I've got graphics, I've got images, I've got descriptions and what to expect for specific locations. Prepare for flooding. I am concerned for some of those areas that may fall in the 4 to 6 inch range. That probably would be McLean, Ford, Livingston, Iroquois County in particular. That's going to be my highest concern. And I know especially in some areas that have seen a lot of flooding this summer, there may be some concern there. So we encourage you, if you're in a low-lying area, even as far south as US 36, want to think about, basement might flood. What are you going to do? And have some early preparations for that. Help your neighbors. It always is a good idea to text or call your neighbors. Let them know. Send them a Facebook message. Say, hey, did you see the severe weather threat? That way we can let as many people know what's happening. And of course, know your safe place in your plan. Those are great things to be prepared and stay informed ahead of severe weather, whether it's a flooding event, a tornado, damaging winds, or hail in your area. It's important to stay weather aware for tomorrow. That is what I have for us here. What I'm going to do now, pop this back up. If you missed it, you can pull your phone camera out, scan this code right here, and that code will allow you to download the app straight to your phone, or you can visit the website, WCIA.com, or search WCIA3 Weather for Apple and Android devices, and that'll allow you to download that app to your phone. You can program it. It's a pretty easy process. That's what I got for y'all. What we'll do here is we'll answer any questions, and if I need to revisit some graphics, that's great. Remember, this is valid for Saturday evening. Jack and I will have another update come Sunday morning, probably about 8:30 or so after the morning show. But you can join us tonight at 9 and 10 on WCIA 3 News. We'll be back at 7 a.m. in the morning, and then we'll have updates throughout the day on digital platforms and on the app. And then if needed, we'll be taking care of things on TV. That's what I have. We'll check for questions and wrap this up. If you're heading out for the night, enjoy the rest of your evening. We do expect rain to arrive by the morning, and we'll be watching for flooding, wind, hail, and tornadoes at varying points during the day. All right, let's scroll on down. Check some comments here. We've got folks checking in from all over the place. I got a question from watching from Brownsburg, coming back to GC in the morning. When should I leave to avoid heavy rain? Probably going to drive in some anyways, Kent and Julie, especially if it's morning to afternoon. There may be a break in the heaviest rain late morning to early afternoon, but then the attention towards the wind, hail, tornado threat starts to pick up a little bit. So take your time, take it slow, just check your app. There's a radar there, you can watch things. Probably late morning is going to be the best thing to monitor here. Amanda, softball games be canceled. If there's any Sunday, Monday games, I don't have a lot of hope for them. I think that areas that you're seeing that heaviest rain north of Interstate 72, 74 in particular, will have the greatest threat to have, sporting events be affected by it. You put a lot of rain down like this, that's going to lead some real muddy fields out there in the area. All right, kind of scrolling through. I'm watching here. Checking other comments. Saw a question about impacts, and there may be some folks that were having some issues with graphics. If that's the case, you can go to the website. I got everything there. This is the impacts graphic. Flooding will probably be the biggest event for us here. 3 to 6 inches in some isolated areas. Most areas north of Interstate 72, 74 in the 2 to 4 inch range. Areas south of there, 1 to 2. We'll call it locally higher totals from the 1 to 2 and 2 to 4. Tornado threat, primarily evening and night. Hail, primarily evening and night. Can't be ruled out late morning, afternoon. Wind would probably be evening and night, if anything, for that. And of course, it differentiates between the place that you live. Checking other comments. Joshua said he cleaned the gutters and downspouts out to be ready for the rain. Yeah, the rain that comes to mid to late week may add another inch or two. We'll fine tune that when it comes. We're going to get through Sunday and take a breather, and we'll have those updates by Monday. Kind of scrolling on through. Looks like, there may have been some skipping, and if that's the case, I'll do a little investigating, check the Facebook, and make sure it works right. If not, what I'll do is I'll just put a little quick update on digital platforms again tonight before all is said and done. So we'll watch. Moultrie County is in the probably more severe side of things, maybe a little less on rain. We'll give it 1 to 2 before all is said and done. Ford and Iroquois County primarily seems to be in the heavier rain. lesser on the severe threat. So that's something that we're going to watch and keep up. And then Sarah asking, will it be straight rain? There probably will be some dry time in the afternoon and evening hours. We're right on that line, so we'll watch and keep an update on that. But I think the best time for dry weather will fall south of 72, probably even south of US 36 for a good chunk of the day. That rain band sets up right along north of the warm front, and that will be where there'll be some issues. All right, that looks like I got everything answered. It seems like there's some problems with there. Remember, you can download the WCI3 weather app. I got all the forecast details up there if you missed it. This forecast valid for tonight into early tomorrow morning. We'll have another update on digital platforms after the morning show at 8:15 or so tomorrow morning. Take care.